that little collector.
There seems to be a power button here.
We should make that view up top large. Let's make the picture full screen.
That little square in the upper right.
Get the view.
You want me to make it bigger? Or is that okay?
No, you keep it like that. That way we can see the gas.
Okay,
I
good.
mean, the question.
I thought this was the power.
Jack,
Yeah, exactly. Yes, ma'am.
Weston. Ken.
This one right here? Okay. Where's the light on?
It'll have two eyes. It went, the light went around the bottom. I think you're good to go. When we plugged it in. Did nobody see that? Is it just-
Yeah, I saw red
Okay.
flash.
The owls, like, it'll have eyes when it's looking.
Does it show us? Oh,
Did
it
you start the meeting, yes?
says record.
Yes. I started it. So
So I'm
let
gonna
me,
start texting here in a minute, see if they can hear me. I'm waiting for it. I'll text Wes.
we have more people coming on. Hold on a second.
But how come doesn't the owl show up there?
Yes, like when I'm speaking, it should be showing.
Hold on.
Maybe it just.
Let me
has
give
to
it a shot
warm up.
here.
There you go.
Does that show everybody like that?
Okay, so you haven't let anyone in yet.
And so whenever whoever's
Oh, that's
talking,
cool. Since
then
I
the
talked to you, it just goes right
owl,
to me.
the owl
Oh, yeah, there's the little eyes.
will focus on you.
Look
So
at
you just have
that.
to talk to the owl.
Fancy.
Keep talking. You look good right there. It's perfect
Talk to
there.
the owl.
I'm not gonna.
Talk to the owl,
Yeah.
Mr. Owl.
It's-
All right, so it is 7:01. I'm gonna go ahead and click the admit all. Okay.
Go for it.
Careful, push.
It's just connecting to audio, let me-
Mhm. I guess just some administrative things, if you want to announce once we get started, just if no one's talking, then they can mute themselves. Right.
Mute you right now. Good evening, guys. Thanks for everyone for calling in tonight or zooming in or whatever you want to call it. Tonight, we're going to do the FORHA Meet the Candidates meeting. The format for tonight's meeting is going to be a question and answer from the moderator, which is me, Colby Sample. I'm going to give everyone 2 to 3 minutes introduction. Then each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer the question. At the end, each candidate will have a 3-minute closing statement. At the end of this, or during this whole call, if people have questions, please submit them. And if we have time, we'll try and get to your questions at the end of this. Please keep yourselves on mute unless you're called on for questions. Some administrative things, there's a peach tree lighting. It's Veterans Day, November 11th at 5:45, or be there by 5:45. Other than that, I'm gonna get this going. So we'll start off with Sarah Federico, if you'd like to give a little brief introduction about yourself.
Okay, thank you. My name is Sarah Federico, and as my bio states, we have lived here in Fair Oaks Ranch for just over 11 years now. This is the longest place that we have ever lived, Brian, myself, and our 2 boys. They're away in college now, actually, but I'm so grateful that this is the place that our family has been able to call home. It didn't take long to fall in love with the wildlife or the oak tree canopies throughout the ranch. We've become accustomed to having access to miles of trails from our front door, as well as the parks. I've been serving on the FORHA board since 2019. The majority of my time has been serving as the director of Parks and Trails since late 2019. And in that role, I have been tasked with many duties and responsibilities. With Parks and Trails, continued monitoring of safety remains a priority. These amenities must remain safe so that residents can use and enjoy them. Other responsibilities have included budget management of the Parks and Trails operations and projects, writing of contracts, being basically a project manager, public relations, stewardship, recruitment, and most recently working with the municipal court appointed youths that need service hours for community service. And I've now recently completed my 3rd Eagle project, which I thought I was going to be done when it was just my son, but I've now have experience of 3 under my belt. I've enjoyed my involvement with FORHA and the experience I have gained, and I hope to earn your vote again for another term.
All right, thanks, Sarah. Next candidate is Dee Menezes.
Hi, I'm Deanna Menezes, or otherwise known as Dee Dee. I want to thank FORHA and the other candidates for participating in this event. Serving on the FORHA board would be continuing more than 13 years of volunteer service that I provided to FORHA, to my neighborhood, and to our city. My community service began more than 13 years ago when we moved here from San Diego by participating in FORHA's Adopt a Highway program, which I'm still doing presently. My community service also includes being a member of the FORHA Communication Committee for more than 5 years, and includes helping design and publish a monthly newsletter, which we work very hard on. There's about 3 of us that does that. This is the current month's edition. This newsletter also provides a communication path for residents to communicate back to the FORHA board. Our current community service includes acting as a principal organizer of the Peace Tree Lighting and Veteran Recognition event, which will be taking place on November 11th at 6 p.m. sharp. If you have recently driven by the Peace Tree, which is in front of the fire station across the parkway from the country club, you can see the results of the collaboration of board member Teal Harris, other volunteers, and me that we've had with the city also. The city staff has done a great job of cleaning up the city property, restoring it to the center of our city status it used to have, and deserves to have again. My service to the neighborhood, where I live, includes being a board member of my neighborhood HOA for 5 years and serving as the communications director for that group. If elected, I would like to be the communication director for the FORHA board. At the city level, my service included organizing volunteer efforts and raising private donations to place holiday decorations on City Hall campus, which was never done before. I also played the role of Mrs. Claus for both FORHA, which I dearly loved, and the city, and enjoyed bringing holiday cheer to all the residents. As a proven servant leader, I just don't talk about things that can be done. I work with others and get things done. Your FORHA board needs this kind of energetic leadership with a proven track record, and I would love to have you vote so we can continue on with the progress that we've started. Thank you.
Thanks, Dee. All right, next, David Ferris.
Hi, I'm David Ferris. I've lived here in Fair Oaks Ranch since 1996, around 25 years. Raised my children here, and they actually are locally here now, working in the community, serving the community alongside me, school teacher and firefighter, as well as my wife and also our church activities. I served on the FORHA board for a little over 4 years, and also did the parks and love the parks and wildlife and trees. I'm definitely a tree lover. And I really enjoyed that, and I enjoyed being part of the community. I'm actually here on behalf of all my neighbors and you, my friends that are out there that that want to see that we continue to abide by our mission, which is to look at the real hard at the money that you spend and that it's taken care of wisely. And I see a lot of that goes on, and that's always appreciated. As well, I've done a lot of volunteer hours on the parks and other things like restrictions committee. I'm currently B3 restrictions chair for over 20 years now, and I continue to visit my neighbors and resolve issues. I always like to see our neighborhoods improve, and that everybody needs similar properties, makes everybody comfortable and nobody's upset, that kind of thing. So I like to see people face to face. All my neighbors, I have no problem visiting with them, and I like to work out issues as well. I think I would be a good part of the board again. And once again, I'm here for my friends and neighbors, and that's it.
Thanks, David. Next is Weston Mocrin.
Yes, hello. So my name is Weston Mocrin. I've been a resident of Fair Oaks for nearly 5 years. Me and my wife have kind of sunk our roots down, and I saw this as a unique opportunity to get involved in my community and give back and help direct some of the allocation of funds that we collect from all of the members into, expansion of parks and trails, beautification, but also having kind of a keen eye for our fiduciary obligation to be transparent and be good stewards of the members' HOA dues. To be fully transparent, the whole idea I kind of set out on this path, and what distinguishes me is kind of bringing a financial mind. I'm an accountant by background, and so I fully intend on nominating or volunteering myself to be the treasurer and try and put my arms around budgeting and actuals, tracking dollars and making collections. So I think it's super important that we embrace the whole idea of being transparent about what we're doing, not doing a lot of things behind closed doors. The whole idea within the mission statement isn't just being good stewards of the HOA dues and our properties and enforcing restrictions, but doing it in a fully transparent way so that all the members feel like they're part of the process and have a forum to raise issues and bring up ideas. So that's it for me.
Awesome. Thanks, Weston. Okay, guys. Thanks so much for the introductions. I'm going to get started with these questions. I'm going to keep the order the same. So first question, Sarah, this goes to you. And you pretty much kind of covered this in your opening statement, but we'll try and keep it brief. What drives your motivation to serve?
I think it's just kind of an innate quality I have, altruistic nature, if you will. It just comes naturally to me, I think, to give of my time. I like volunteering and doing it as I have come to learn to do with FORHA as a whole has brought, I've gained a lot from it. People that I've met, I feel like I've made new friends, I've strengthened relationships, I've connected with others all over the community. I think that it's a rewarding thing to do, and the outcomes that happen by giving up of your time, whether it's with a small group or a large group, or if it's just yourself, I think it's worth it. So I don't know, just I haven't stopped.
Okay. Dee Dee?
Well, I love volunteering. I've done volunteering for about 40 years plus of my life. I was an educator for 40 years with middle school kids, so did a lot of volunteering with parents and so forth. But when I came to this community, I fell in love with it. I saw the vibrancy, and the wildlife was just absolutely just amazing. And I love looking at the deer and all the different wildlife. So I told my husband, I says, we started this process back in 1976 out here. We finally did. And I'm very happy that we came out here. I started volunteering right away when we got here. I met so many cool people, so many nice people, so many people with good ideas and how to make things happen. And I just want to be part of that. And we've had an amazing FORHA board for all these years. And I just want to continue keeping it amazing and making it move forward. But with your help, we got to have your help to make it happen. And we got to go ahead and move forward, and we got to make it fun. I mean, no one wants to be someplace where it's not fun. And so we have a lot of different ways of doing that. And I'm kind of happy to be on that part of the train that will go ahead and do that. So like I said, I'm here and I don't mind volunteering, and I will give you 100,000% if that's possible. Thank you.
All right. David, I'll repeat the question. What drives your motivation to serve?
Okay, so primarily it's, once again, friends and neighbors. I listen to their concerns and they tell me, what they think, and they'd like to have a voice back on the board that represents them. I feel I'm that voice. Once again, however it falls out, I will do that for them and make sure that their voice is heard, and that we do, again, the mission statement, and take care of our community and strive to make it better, as everybody else has stated. I'm committed. There's no question of that. I stay committed in everything I do. I'm not a quitter. So I'm here, and I would appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Weston, I'll repeat the question. What drives your motivation to serve?
Yeah, so I don't quite have the resume that maybe my fellow candidates here do of a lifetime of servitude and community service. I saw this as an opportunity, as a springboard almost, into starting kind of a journey on serving the fellow ranch community. Like I said, we really enjoyed this neighborhood and this community, and at the end of the day, we want to be here till we die. And so it was a great opportunity to jump on the board and help direct the direction of kind of Fair Oaks Ranch homeowners and what we see as important, and kind of bring that change about. So
Awesome. All right. Thanks, Weston. Hey guys, we'll move forward. Actually, I lied. I'm not going to keep the order the same. Because it's kind of not fair that Sarah would have to answer first. So Dee Dee, you're going first this time.
Go for it.
All right. So subject to taking exception to specific items in the parks master plan, do you support continued expenditures in the park additions in general?
First of all, we're have the opportunity or the mission to take care of our parks and trails. We've had that mission since a city was established. So yes, I feel like we need to continue making reasonable parks and trails improvements. I feel like we need to make sure that we take care of our property and make sure that our equipment that our children are playing on is correctly administered, and as well as being safe for our children. I also feel like we need to go ahead and maybe seek other ways of trying to make sure that we do meet our mission of our homeowners association. And that's to take care of our finances. I'm not a money spender. I'm a wise spender. And if I see this or something needs to be done, I will go out and seek different ways of finding out what is the correct answer. And I just won't sit there and just willy-willy, say yes to something which I feel like we can go ahead and work on it further.
Thanks, Dee. David? Or you
So,
wanna repeat?
yes, I'll go ahead and,
No, it's okay.
yeah, no, definitely, I like to see that we improve our parks, but I really want to make sure that we do what the homeowners want to do. So you're the people that are sending the checks in to the association that pay for some of these things. And as in the past, I volunteered. I'm the one that installed the playset at the Boots Gavitt's Park. And I was very careful about the safety issues and concerns. I can tell you it's got 3 tons of concrete needed to keep that thing tethered in case of a big washout, as that zone can happen, that area. But mainly, I really want an open forum. I want it to be what the homeowners want, and have, in my career, I've dealt with hundreds of engineers and having to get surveys through them, and they can be done. We can listen to our homeowners and find out what you want, what's really, you want to see, and then keep it reasonable. I'm all for, hey, if, 6 out of 10 say we want this, then that's what I'm going to push to do. So that's where I'm at on that. And I love the improvements. I can tell you, living right by the Norman Vestal Park, I really enjoy the new parking. That's something I wanted to see happen when I was on the board. We never got it done. So I'm really impressed by that. And there are reasonable things that can be done, and you can't volunteer everything, obviously. But that's what I'd like to hear, and listen to the homeowners, what you want to have done.
All right, thanks, David. Weston, do you need that question repeated?
No, I'm a huge supporter of developing, expanding, maintaining our parks and trail system. At the end of the day, I think, when you look at the budget numbers, right, the parks and trails, as well as the projects that we have ongoing, right, it's a fairly significant chunk of dollars that are outflows. I think it's absolutely necessary. I think that it supports kind of the ideals of what we're doing here in Fair Oaks. I think it's super unique that we have as many parks as we do and the trail systems that we do. And if you're not going to maintain them and keep them nice and keep them safe, then people aren't going to use them, and it's just a waste. I would say the thing is that, the maintenance of the parks and the trail system is something that would be an ongoing cost. And so just being mindful of what we are putting into the parks and what we are doing for kind of reducing maintenance costs or kind of recurring costs that we have to do down the road, because, all these large projects like what we have at I think it's Boots Gavitt's Park, they're one-time expenditures, and then next year we roll over and there's other parks or other trails or other projects that we can be looking at. And so I think sometimes we get caught up in the amount of money that flows out for just, say, an annual period, but there's always going to be dollars down the road to allocate toward other projects. And so, yeah, I'm 100% on board for building out, beautifying, maintaining our parks and trail system. So thank you.
Thanks, Weston. Sarah, do you need me to repeat the question for you?
No, I think I got this one.
I figured.
No, I am very much in support of improvements in our parks. And as I have said before, I don't do it alone. I work with a committee. I have a co-chair, and there are people on that committee. And these aren't decisions that I make by myself. I am capable of making decisions by myself, but I do not make these decisions solo. So we continue to assess what the temperature of the community is. We go by feedback that we get. Of course, we have the master plan that was rolled out in 2018, but many parts of that master plan were not practical, not feasible. So that vision or that concept, things have changed. And I have said it over and over again. I've said it in person. I have said it in print, that what was initially introduced and rolled out is not what has 100% remained. But we will continue to do, and I think for, being mindful of our community's assets and taking care of them, improvements, whether, there's a little bit of erosion mitigation to still take care of and address. I mean, that's something that we hope to get to, or what I would hope to propose to get to at the start of 2022 at Boots Park. We have come a long way at Vestal Park. That was our most invasive and expensive measures that we took, but I received so many compliments that come this way to FORHA about what we've done. I hope we've made Mr. Fair and his family pleased with what we have done for all the common areas. That's part of our mission, is to be good stewards of all the common areas. It's not just the parks, and it's not only the trails. But infrastructure, those are the improvements that also include safety, inclusiveness or accessibility. Those are things that we need to continue to look upon, as well as reducing long-term costs. If we can replace something that gets beaten up with the sun and the heat, the plastic border, if we're going to go ahead and make it a cement border, we're done. We're done with that. So yes, I'm definitely a supporter of the parks, but everything within reason.
All right, thanks, Sarah. All right, David, you're going to go first on this question. Have you identified areas in the FORHA budget where you think we can save money without sacrificing services or amenities?
Well, I haven't seen the 4 budget. I guess
Okay.
that's be a little difficult, but I definitely review it and look for areas. I know I worked hard when I was on the board too. We looked for areas. We did things even like sending out the directory every other year. We looked at all the costs, the mowing costs, the everything to look for areas where we could cut back and keep it as beautiful as it is. So I would like to definitely, review and look for areas without damaging anything. That's especially on the administrative, those kind of things.
Thanks, David. Weston, I'll repeat the question. I don't know if you heard me. Have you identified areas in the FORHA budget where you think we can save money without sacrificing services or amenities?
Yeah, I mean, so looking at the budget, or at least the initial budget, as will be presented, I guess, here in the next month or so to all the members, but it's really broken up into 3 large categories, right? The first being is kind of day-to-day operations of running a large HOA. It's back office labor, technology, having an office. Another third is really the projects, which is in pursuit of the master plan that was presented, voted upon, and is kind of the direction that we're moving in. And then the other third is really split between the maintenance of, say, like the parks and trail system, which I think is super important. And I don't know how much there is to cut there. And the remainder of it is kind of miscellaneous and legal. So I think, unfortunately, the world that we live in right now, with the inflationary pressures, rising costs of technology, of people, of generally everything, there is going to come a conscious decision on how to allocate funds and whether or not we're pursuing projects, as fully laid out, or we have to make some cuts, or if we have some wins on kind of like the miscellaneous areas. But I don't think that the budget presents any big areas where you can go in with an axe and cut a significant chunk of dollars. It's pretty skinny down. And for the most part, I think most of it would be scalpel work where you're saving $1,000 or $2,000 here and there. But I think a lot of the kind of small line item things are really appreciated, like the volunteer events and stuff like that. The volunteer appreciation events, I think, are super important, because the people that volunteer their time to serve or just come out and help clean up or do projects or participate, I think, have to be recognized. And so I think that there's going to be tough decisions made, but there's nothing in the budget that jumps out off of off of kind of the slide deck that says, oh, wow, we should really take a really hard look at this line item and try and, cut it in half and save $10,000 or $15,000. I think what we might find is that we're looking at the all-in scope of, say, some of the projects that are part of the master plan, and we have to defer, delay, or kind of rescope it to do something that's more cost effective. So I think being prudent about how we deploy the funds into tangible, observable projects, whether it's parks, trails, beautification projects, whatever it is, as long as we can be mindful that if we spend an extra, say, 5 or 10% now when we're outlaying a large chunk of capital, and we can save on maintenance in the future, it's more of a long-term goal, which is what I think we all kind of have in mind here is we want this to be a sustainable project in a kind of a functioning HOA, so that we don't get 3 years down the road and recognize we have amazing parks, trail systems and everything else, but the maintenance cost is killing us and we have to raise dues. So that's my answer.
Thanks, Weston. I appreciate that. Sarah, do you want me to repeat that question for you?
Sure.
Have you identified areas in the FORHA budget where you think we can save money without sacrificing services or amenities?
I will say because I have the budget from our planning workshops, the trend, things have incrementally increased with our operating side of expenses. Legal, of course, has gone up. Insurance has gone up tremendously just because of the lawsuit, as everybody knows. But with what's gone up in parks and trails, there has been an increase just because of the cost of services. We rely on vendors. We don't have the overhead of our own mowing crew or anything like that. So the cost of services is something that has increased. One thing I do look forward to for next year is, hopefully I get to be a part of that, is to get involved with the reserve study. We need to make sure that we're on that continued path of setting aside funding for repair and replacement of assets. And we have more assets than just what sits in our parks or along our trails, but that's what we would need to hire a professional to help us determine. So I just think of it as these investments, or setting enough aside the funds to take care of them. It's the board's responsibility, and it's like taking pride and ownership of your own home.
Awesome, thank you. Dee, do you hear me repeat the question?
No.
Okay.
Well, they all stole my thunder there. Weston did a great job in detailing everything that needs to be done and that should be done and that will be done. The only thing that I can see that possibly we might want to look at a little bit further is looking at our legal expenses as well as our insurance expenses. Costs have gone up a whole lot since the last couple of years. It's gone up tremendously since the last 10 years that we've been here at FORHA. Things aren't as simple as they used to be. Things have really gotten a lot more difficult in some areas. We've grown as a city, and our city representatives, our city residents, they are demanding a few more things than before. They want better parks, they want better trails, they want safer equipment for their children, they want communication from the board. And I agree with all that. If we're going to spend money, you guys got to know what we're spending it on. And I'm all for looking at the budget, going through it, getting some help with it if I don't understand something. And so just to make sure that we spend your money wisely. Money does not grow on trees, even though we like to think so. We have a lot of oak trees here, but they don't. And so I'm willing to go ahead and continue working with the board to make good, solid decisions on how we spend your money, because we're all in it together. And so we need to make sure we all work together.
Thank you. David, you want to repeat the question for me? Oh, no, wait, you started. Weston, you're next. Sorry, I'm getting questions, like, text from people right now. Is it still many people in? Is it 11 people on? We got 2 people say they can't get in.
Let me check. I don't think I need to provide.
Weston, you're first on this one. As a board member, what would you do to ensure that the board actions are transparent and adequately communicated to the members?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, kind of first and foremost, if members want to be involved, right, we have to kind of emphasize that, you know, all board meetings are projected through Zoom. Everybody's welcome to participate, to bring issues to light at the meetings that can go on record. I think really the most important thing is to make sure that, you know, when board goes into executive committee, that it's for real discussion purposes and for, you know, confidential matters. But any kind of very practical or impactful decisions are made in an open forum, whether or not at an open meeting or on, you know, a Zoom call, so that everybody has the opportunity to raise their hand, to bring an issue to light, to provide feedback, to provide, you know, maybe guidance where they have ideas or they've kind of run into these experiences in the past. I mean, you know, to say that, you know, I think everything's posted on the website, you know, minutes are posted, agendas are posted. So I think for the most part, it's making sure that the discussion amongst the board is transparent and it is open for everybody to listen to and participate in. I think that's the most practical and overwhelming kind of observable thing that we can do to be transparent and make sure that nothing's getting done behind closed doors that is, you know, allocating funds or approving projects and things like that, so that everybody's part of the process.
Sarah, I'll repeat the question. As a board member, what would you do to ensure that board actions are transparent and adequately communicated to the members?
Well, one of the good things that has been started in this last year is the actual communication committee's newsletter that gets out right after our meetings that are held that week, that second Tuesday of the month. I think that's helped disseminate a lot of information, accurate information. And then, you know, beyond that, you know, people just need to be involved. And if that means you join a committee, then you're part of the committee. And that's where things get hashed out. And then the committee meetings or the committee chairs, that's where things get brought to the board. And then the board discusses things. We also have policies and procedures. So we need to make sure that our policies and procedures are streamlined and known, and that's what we follow.
Didi, you want me to repeat the question for you?
No.
Okay.
Sarah's completely correct on that. We need to be more transparency in the way of giving out information. And I'm happy to say that a big push was communication with the residents through the communication newsletter that is put out once a month. And the other thing that we've done for the last 10 years, 15 years, whatever, we added a Facebook page. We've made great improvements to our website, even though we still need to do a lot more on the website, but we've improved a lot. We've added email blasts to the residents who have emails, and I believe most of our residents have submitted emails. One thing we resurrected this past year was doing a welcome packet for all the new members coming into our community. And we sent out postcards to them, and then they come in here and they get a nice little welcome packet of the parks and trails, maps, and all that good stuff there. So we've been able to enhance that part of it. The other thing is that a lot of people don't know that we do not operate on the TOMA, which is the Texas State Open Meetings Act. We operate under the Property Code Act of 209. And that kind of gives us a little bit more leeway in having meetings and doing things like that. But above all, we are to be transparent. And transparency is very important for everybody. And I think this board has been very transparent, as well as the other boards in the past. But as with social media, with all the other stuff, the only way you get the true information is come on in and listen to the meetings. And then if you have questions, by all means, I don't know anybody on the board that will not answer a question correctly and honestly. And I think that is our true sense of what we are here at Ferris Ranch Home Association. We care about our community. We care about our people, and we care about making the right decision. Are we going to, not agree on everything? We don't. But we all need to make sure that if we come with a problem, let's have a solution, because problems are there all over the place. And I think that's what the board is striving for, is coming up with good solutions for everybody. So yes, communication is very important. And I think that's what makes our world happen, is good communication.
Thanks, Dee. And that was good communication. All right,
Thank you.
David. All right, as a board member, what would you do to ensure that the board actions are transparent and adequately communicated to the members?
So what I would do is, talking about adequately communicating is, having worked in marketing quite a bit, is the messaging and people's attention spans when you talk about all these different medias that you can look at. And sometimes you start reading and you just don't have time for it. So I think what would help is, like Dee Dee said in the email blast, is make some short, hey, here's some things you might not have known about, simple and just kind of consistent messaging, something different. You get a little feedback from some of the homeowners. Hey, we didn't know this. Well, that's going to be in the next. Just put it out there. So that's what I would push for. And I appreciate everything that's being done to effect better communications.
Thanks. Thanks for keeping that short and simple too.
Thanks a lot.
Well, he said he was gonna do it. That's what he would do. Okay, all right. All right, so Sarah, it's back to you. You're the first one. This is the last question. Do you have any personal involvement? Well, I guess this is a multi-part question. Do you have any personal involvement with the lawsuit by certain members of FORHA, financially or otherwise?
I do not, other than I've just been on the board since I guess it started.
If no, as a board member, how would you work to ensure that all members of the community are represented?
I would just keep things open and honest, like I don't know, my dad used to call it the sunshine law. If you can't do it in the sunshine, then you can't do it. So
Okay,
I just operate on it, act as if somebody is always watching, because it always feels like somebody is watching.
okay. So Dee Dee, do you have any personal involvement with the lawsuit by certain members of or against FORHA, financially or otherwise? If yes, do you agree to recuse yourself from voting on participating in planning related to the lawsuit? If no, how would you work to ensure that all members of the community are represented?
No, I do not have any involvement in the lawsuit at all. I would definitely want to make sure that all our residents understand what's going on, be transparent as much as possible. We have nothing to hide. And once you start hiding stuff, that's when the suspicion starts. But it happens both ways. It doesn't happen just from the board to the people. It happens from the people to the board. And that needs to make sure that that doesn't happen, because we're all in it together. And I hate to say this lawsuits cost a lot of money. And we can spend all that money to make it really good things for our residents. So I would work toward making sure that everybody gets a voice. Everybody gets to see how we can make things happen better. Like Sarah said, you don't want to hide things, because they'll always come back to bite you in the butt.
Okay, David, do you have any personal involvement with the lawsuit by certain members against FORHA, financially or otherwise? If yes, do you agree to recuse yourself from voting on or participating in planning related to the lawsuit? If no, as board member, how would you work to ensure that all members of the community are represented?
So let me answer the first part. I don't have any financial involvement. I've had personal involvement. The reason is that all of those people involved are friends of mine. We've worked closely together, and they've put so much. I had nothing to do with it. And in fact, the only reason to be part of that is when I saw the names just thrown out there on these places like Next Door Neighbor, it just drove me crazy. I said, these are really good people, and these awful things being said. That gets to me, especially when I've sat here for hours working side by side with dedicated individuals of our community. And they put forth so much effort. So I have a personal involvement, nothing financially. I don't even know what's going on. I haven't even seen one thing for almost, I just checked my email, nothing for about a year, I think. But I can say, that no, there's nothing hidden. Everything's open. It's I believe you can look up records. People do it and they look up and see what's going on. And I'm totally for not spending any money. I think go to arbitration and find a solution. Now, that being said, since I've had some involvement and I would definitely, if everybody felt that way, I could recuse myself from actions. I feel really deeply about all the people in our community. And I don't think it's us, them type thing. I think it all could have been resolved, but here we are.
Weston, can you need me to repeat that? It's kind of long.
No, I don't have any, I guess, financial involvement or personal involvement in the lawsuit. I'm not necessarily up to speed on kind of the particulars other than what is publicly available out there. I think, one of the particular challenges with litigation is that a lot of things are done behind closed doors with kind of confidentiality at the forefront of what you're doing because there is a lawsuit pending. And so you can't necessarily openly talk about it in an open forum just for practical reasons. And so that presents a challenge in order to try and kind of clue everybody in and make it a very open debate and discussion. So I think it's challenging in that you're really restricted to what has been filed and what is out there in the public domain. And then beyond that, right, you can obviously stick a stake in the ground as to where the current board sits and what their position is, but you can't really go too far in depth with facts and circumstances or items for discovery around that. And so I think there's a challenge around trying to make sure it's fully transparent. All you can do is emphasize that you're disclosing as much information as you possibly can at the direction of the attorneys that are representing the current board members. So, I don't necessarily know what it is, but it sounds like David's very passionate about it. And I think it goes to show that serving on a HOA board is somewhat of a thankless job. And lots of people will throw stones and rocks, but everybody willing to give of their time and of their effort and, time away from family and friends and stuff like that and deal with problems. I struggle to see how it gets to the point where lawsuits are lobbed. Again, I don't know all the facts and circumstances around it, and I don't have a lot of emotional or personal involvement in it. So until that time, I guess, I'll kind of hold my real comments. But yeah, it's a large line item in the budget that sticks out, and I wasn't going to highlight it because I didn't know how sensitive it was. But, to allocate kind of HOA members' dues into a position of defending within the court of law, that money can go toward other things. So that's where I'm at.
Thank you, Senor. All right, closing statements. So each candidate will have 2 minutes and literally 2 minutes. We may have to meet you if you go over 2 minutes. So you want to go first?
Can we wait 1 second? Let me
Sure.
see if there's any way I can invite a couple more people in. Just give me 1 minute to look at that.
Let me see if I can't find it.
All right, Toby, go ahead. Sorry for the delay.
No problem. All right. Anyone want to volunteer and go first?
Sure.
Got 2 minutes. I'm
2
starting the
minutes,
timer.
okay. First of all, I want to thank FORHA and the other candidates, David and Sarah and Weston, for participating in this event. And I also want to thank everyone out there on Zoom and any place else that you can listen to for Zooming in. If you ask the question of what have you done for FORHA and our residents in the past, the answer is, as in my case, is I have done many things over a long period of time, like just, my involvement. I won't go through it again. I said it already, but I want you to know that I love this community. I love working with the residents of this community. I love bringing energy to this community. I love watching people smile. I love watching the wildlife. I love FORHA. That's one of the first things I did get involved when I got here is join FORHA. And I loved it. The people were just awesome. They were kind, courteous. They were here for a reason. And that's to make your community a happy place and a fun place and a safe place. And that's where we are now. We are a happy community. We just got to get back to it. Some of these events that we're starting for FORHA, that's to bring all of us together. That's to say to people, we have one of the greatest communities in Texas. And I just like to share that. If I could stand up on top of the building, I would just say it to everybody. You live in a fantastic place. We have a lot of great people, new people moving in all the time with new ideas. And we need to listen to those ideas. And we also need to listen to the old ideas, the people that have been here for 30 years. They have so much wisdom, and we need to listen to them too. And I'm willing to go ahead and listen to everybody, collaborate with everybody, and see what we can do to move everything forward for everybody, not just for a little group. So if you think I'm the right person, please vote for me. I'll give you my email. If there's a question you want to ask me. I'm more there. I'm very transparent on that. But if I don't answer, leave me a voicemail because I don't answer anybody. My email is dmanitsis, MANITZAS @gbtc.com. And my phone number, I'll even do this, is 210-602-1582. I'm here to serve you, and I'm here to serve everybody. Thank you.
Well, that was brave. I would not give my phone number out. Any of you guys ever got my number? I will screen your calls. Oh, man. Good for you. All right. David, 2 minutes.
Okay, so I'm here because of my friends and neighbors, my family. I'd like to see this community continue to not just develop but maintain the old, the new kind of together, and do that with a reasonable stewardship of your funds, and then watch out over the restrictions. Like I say, I do that already. That's I'm kind of passionate about being neighborly and talking to our neighbors and seeing making sure everybody understands where we stand. I explain all the time what for us here and what it's about and how it works and why it's different from other communities. And I would like to see transparency. I'm there to have bring more transparency, communications, and then I am one of those older guys that's been around and seen how things have been done, but I'm very open to the what more people want to do, what the new people want to do. And obviously I'm not very long-winded, but thank you, and I'd appreciate your vote if you do. I really do appreciate it, and we'll work on your behalf.
Awesome. Thank you. Weston, 2 minutes.
2 minutes. Yeah, so I'll be honest. I think the members of Fair Oaks Ranch would do well with any of the members or any of the candidates that put themselves forward tonight. I think there's a long kind of history here of serving the community and others. For me in particular, right, my idea is just kind of coming into this and being fresh and being kind of here for the long term, and looking at this and saying, I'd like to start on a journey that, starts today and ends, 40 years from now when I'm still in Fair Oaks, hopefully still serving on the board. I think really what I'm bringing to the table is kind of what David is talking about. It's transparency. It's being kind of open and honest about where the dollars are being allocated and where the dollars are coming in. I think a lot of our role in making the best use of our members' time if they do call into meetings and stuff like that is being somewhat prepared with kind of the details behind the scenes so that we can quickly highlight, how much is being allocated toward this project or this line item or this maintenance item. Being honest about where we're at with staffing and how we're running back offices. My whole idea is really just driving accountability and being transparent, as good stewards of the members' funds. I think, I love this community. I think everybody probably sitting here tonight, all the people participating, love this community. Obviously, I think we all have the same kind of goal in mind. We just want the best for Fair Oaks Ranch. So that's what I have to say.
Thank you, Weston. Sarah, 2 minutes.
Okay. Thank you. I've enjoyed being a member of this FORHA board, and I have appreciated this opportunity that you, the members, have given me. You guys are my friends, you're my neighbors. I'm hoping that my time maybe has inspired others. I'm a proponent of teamwork. It makes the world go round. I would love to continue to be a part of this team. As we're emerging, hopefully, out of this pandemic state, there's just so much useful community activities that can happen. We were able to do some of them earlier in the summer because we had snow cone events, one at each park, and then we had a movie night for Christmas in July in the park, and we're going to have a rebranding of Peachtree for Veterans Day to kick off, Veterans Day and then kick off to the holiday season. We've always had a Santa Claus. FORHA has always sponsored a Santa Claus event, so we're gonna take that to the parks because why not? We've got a beautiful place to do it. The space is out there. So look for these new and exciting things to come. And I just appreciate the time that you have allowed, and I hope that I've helped bring forth information that a lot of people just didn't know or weren't aware of. So anyhow, thank you and good night, Fair Oaks.
All right, thanks, Sarah. Stay classy, San Diego. All right, guys, appreciate everyone logging in tonight. I'm sorry for the technical difficulties. You can blame Renee. He's not good at this stuff. I was awesome, of course, which I think we all come to expect that. Guys, again, appreciate everyone who is putting forth the time to commit and want to be part of this. It is a thankless job, and you guys all know what you're signing up for, so that's great. Tomorrow night we have our board meeting. Everyone wants to log in again. I probably won't be as vocal. So, all right, have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.